We are following breaking news out of the NBA right here on CBS Sports HQ. We have our second big trade of the day, and it is a blockbuster. The Kings are trading Tyrese Haliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson to the Pacers for Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, and Justin Holiday. That is according to ESPN. Taking a look at the details of the trade, Sacramento also receiving a second-round pick. This is the second big move the Pacers have made in the past couple of days. On Sunday, they sent Karis LeVert to the Cavs for Ricky Rubio's expiring contract and draft picks. Let's welcome in Avery Johnson to talk about this. Avery, right before we came on, I said, did you see this one coming? Because a lot of the reaction on social media is what is going on? What is your reaction to what has gone down between these two teams?
Wow, man, I didn't see this coming, but I totally understand it. Let's start with the Indiana Pacers first. You're looking at Rick Carlisle, who's a long-term coach for the Dallas Mavericks, won a championship, actually took over for me with the Mavericks. You know, he's in a situation right now with the Pacers where he's really trying to hit the reset button with this organization. You know, they got to the playoffs a couple of years with Nick McMillan, even though there were some early exits, especially when LeBron James was in Cleveland. But this is about really trying to, you know, retrofit this roster. And when you look at, you know, receiving Buddy Hield and Tyrese Haliburton in this trade, you talking about guys, because I don't think they're sure about Malcolm Brogdon, you're talking about two guys that you can insert into the starting lineup from day one. When you look at Haliburton, this kid out of Iowa State, man, he's got the size. I loved him coming out of the draft. You know, he can play on the ball, off the ball. He's a much improved three-point shooter. He's a triple-double threat as he moves on in his career. So in terms of, you know, this what it looks like for the Pacers, I really love this trade. And then you get Buddy Hield, who can stretch the floor. But I'm a little surprised that Sacramento gave up on Tyrese Haliburton so quickly. I can understand they love Davion Mitchell. Of course, you know, De'Aaron Fox is the starting point guard, making $28 million a year. So it looks like he's not going anywhere. But I think when you ask Rick Carlisle what was the key to this trade, he was going to say that receiving Tyrese Haliburton in this trade was a deal that he had to make.
Tyrese Haliburton, just 21 years old there. Avery, I need to talk to Kings fans. I need you to talk to Kings fans because they are not happy to see Tyrese Haliburton go. What was going through the front office's mind when it comes to the Kings making this trade?
Your guess is as good as mine, but I would think that, you know, receiving Sabonis as a guy that can, you know, stretch the floor a little bit at the stretch five position. He's not a true four man. He's better when he's playing in space with shooters, and they're probably imagining a pick and roll with he and two-man game with De'Aaron Fox. They're probably also thinking that some of the guys on their rosters that they missed on, you know, like Marvin Bagley III, hasn't really panned out. They're looking at the competition in the Western Conference. When you're looking at the Goberts and you're looking at Jokic, they obviously had a significant disadvantage there. Tristan Thompson, you know, who was included in the trade, wasn't going to provide much offensive help. So when you look at this roster, they're probably thinking they need to kind of reinvent themselves a little bit at the center position, get Sabonis in the trade. He's a little bit orthodox left-handed player, still has, you know, some better years ahead of him. So I think from a competitive standpoint, this was the trade-off for the Kings, but in getting Sabonis back in this trade.
A trade-off, but was it a good one?
I don't think so. No, this is the trade-off right now is Chris Hassel in Los Angeles for the Super Bowl. Now that's a good trade-off. All right, but not the Kings.
So give me a grade for each. Actually, before we get to that, so talk to me about the Pacers, since you can put in these guys immediately, as you mentioned. Give me their forecast for the rest of the season.
Well, they're still not a playoff team, but when you're in Rick Carlisle's shoes, he's trying to think more about next year. And you don't have as many games left. You played half of your schedule, so he's thinking about what type of backcourt can he have moving forward? Because they signed Brogdon before the coaching change was made. He hasn't really developed into a go-to guy. So now you can get this young 20, 21-year-old kid in Haliburton to come in with Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield still could be another good trade piece because everybody needs shooting. So I think from a rebuild standpoint, he's thinking more about next year.
All right, Avery Johnson, very quickly, give me a grade for each of these teams, just a letter and a plus or minus, if you will.
Yeah, I give the Pacers a B+ on this trade, and I give the Sacramento Kings a C-.
Oh, well, that's a little bit better than I thought you were going to give. Avery Johnson, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you very soon. The NBA trade deadline just 2 days away, but already we are seeing some blockbuster trades going down, including the one going down today. Our Bill Reiter confirming this news. The Kings trading away Tyrese Haliburton, Buddy Hield, Tristan Thompson to the Pacers for Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, and Justin Holiday. Coming up next on CBS Sports HQ, we'll continue to follow this breaking news. We'll talk to the guy who has been able to confirm it for us, our NBA insider, Bill Reiter. What were the Kings thinking exactly? Maybe he can answer that next. Welcome back into CBS Sports HQ, where we continue to follow breaking news out of the NBA. Our second big trade of the day, and this one is a doozy. The Kings trading away Tyrese Haliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson to the Pacers in exchange for Domantas Sabonis, Jeremy Lamb, and Justin Holiday. Our Bill Reiter confirming that news for us, taking a look at the details of the trade. Sacramento also getting a second-round pick. Now, of course, we are counting down the hours and the days until the NBA trade deadline. This is the second move the Pacers have made just in the past couple of days. They sent Caris LeVert to the Cavs on Sunday in exchange for Ricky Rubio's expiring contract and some draft picks. Let's welcome in NBA insider Bill Reiter to CBS Sports HQ from Los Angeles there in Radio Row. Bill, I talked to Avery just a second ago, and he had a lot of question marks when it came to what the Kings were doing in this particular trade. What do you make of all of it?
Yeah, he's not alone. The folks that I've been texting with as this news has come down have a lot of question marks as well. I think there's a couple things at play here. The Sacramento Kings, not a secret, under some pressure to show some progress to their ownership group in terms of making the postseason. That means they're, a couple games out of that 10th spot. We're in the play-in situation. They obviously believe Sabonis is a guy that can help them do that in the short term. They're also very full of the point guard, shooting guard position. But, I mean, the other main takeaway from a lot of folks that I've talked to is the fact that this is I think it's a steal for the Pacers. This is not a long-term play for Indy, but Buddy Hield is such a nice piece, whether they incorporate him into a rebuild or they use him as a pretty significant trade chip. And Tyrese Haliburton is a emerging great player, young dude, 21, can shoot the basketball, athletic. It's at least as we understand the trade so far, it certainly looks like a big win for the Pacers.
Yeah, talking about the Pacers there, Avery saying, look, he really feels that Rick Carlisle's kind of trying to hit the reset button there, saying, look, they're not a playoff team right now, but this is a great move for them. I mean, expand on that a little bit, just how good it is for the Pacers.
Yeah, and I think you make a really good point. They have a coach in that organization who has coached a team to an NBA championship, who has a history of taking that Mavericks team. No disrespect to those guys. We're not the most talented basketball team that year, but they had a great culture. They knew who they were. And so Carlisle's going to get the chance, clearly, to help shape with the front office, this organization, and the roster in the mold that he wants. Haliburton, maybe it's 2 years from now. Maybe it's 3 years from now. I think he's going to be – he had the potential before to be a superstar, really to be a star in the NBA. And the big question mark for him was the organization that he was a part of and the inconsistencies in Sacramento. That's gone now. You add Haliburton to what Carlisle's going to do and the culture he's going to create. He's going to be a huge piece. We're going to look back and I think raise our eyebrows that he was moved as a part of this package. I know that Sabonis is a nice player. He is, but Buddy Hield's a heck of a player too. For me, this is a really promising move. If you're a Pacers fan, not for this year, but for a year or 2 or 3 down the road, that they're well run and they are going to rebuild much more quickly than, say, Oklahoma City or maybe even Portland going forward.
Promising move for the Pacers there. I have seen a lot of pain and anguish, however, from Kings fans on social media. I mean, you talked about they haven't made it to the postseason since, what, the 2005, 2006 season. You're talking about, look, we're under pressure to show progress. But, I mean, was this the move to do it, sending away these guys?
Let me answer your question with a text message from a league source. I sent several text messages when the news came down to confirm it, and then just to get a reaction. This is from a very well-connected NBA official, or executive, I should say. Pacers destroyed the Kings. No, if you're a Kings fan, there is not a lot of positivity you take from this. I understand that Sacramento really likes Davion Mitchell, the point guard, the guard out of Baylor they took in the first round. Now, he has not had a remarkable year, but it can take players 2 or 3 years to really emerge. Maybe the Kings know something about what he's going to be in the NBA that we haven't seen. The rest of us don't. Their track record does not instill a lot of confidence on that front. And they are, again, a couple games out right now behind. I think it's New Orleans for that 10th spot. They are in the mix for a playoff spot if you want to include those 4 teams that get to do the play-in situation as playoff teams. And so bringing Sabonis certainly in the short term makes more sense. They clear out a crowded position. But I don't think there's any positive way to spin this trade in the whole and full context. I think it's a massive win for the Pacers. And I think if you're a Kings fan, as you noted on social media, you are rightfully having a pretty difficult afternoon or morning, depending where you are.
Avery gave the Kings about a C. He gave the Pacers about an A. Give me your grades for these 2 teams in this trade.
Avery's nicer than I am, I guess.
I thought so, too.
I'll go. Yeah, I like the Pacers move a lot. Some of this is betting on the future. I'm going to go A-. I think Buddy Hield, I love Buddy Hield. I know there's a difference of opinion around the NBA on that particular point. I think look, shooting is gold in the NBA. And so I think as a part of that future roster, it makes sense. He's under contract, I think, for 3 more years, or as a trade piece. And I love Haliburton, what he's going to be. A- for the Pacers. It's a D+ for the Sacramento Kings. I mean, what's the upside here? Sabonis helps you win a few extra games. You make the play-in situation and get humiliated over the course of that reality, or maybe, not probably, but maybe you make a 7-game series and you get humiliated in that series without a real clear plan for how this fits for the future. It's a D+ for me for Sacramento and an A- so far, at least, projecting forward for the Pacers.
Bill, I know it's going to be a busy couple of days ahead. It's already been very busy. We appreciate you hopping on with us there in Los Angeles on Radio Road to talk about, of course, the latest ongoings around the NBA. We'll talk to you soon, Bill. Taking a look at some of the notable games we do have coming up tonight. The Suns, they've won 13 of their past 14 going up against the 76ers and Joel Embiid, who are a 1-point favorite there at home, basically a pick-em. We do want to note in the Celtics at Nets, James Harden most likely will not play tonight, dealing with a hamstring issue. Of course, trade rumors surrounding him. He has not played 4 of the past 6 games. Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.